everybody, this is Joseph ProPatty, and I'm bringing to you another video that will be covering my game, Dungeon Flee. So Dungeon Flee is a dungeon crawling deck builder game, card game, and there's a number of modes that you can play. They're gameplays that are set up where you can kind of have an easy mode where you can progress down the dungeon with easier monsters and get down to the bottom where there are the hard monsters and possibly the big boss. Then you have the difficult mode, where it's similar in a way, but you have a mixture of those monsters. 1 through 4 monsters in the beginning are mixed together, as well as the 5 and above monsters are mixed together. So it creates a much harder challenge in the start of the game, where you could have a level 4 monster right off the bat. So that's kind of the setup for the difficult mode, and in this video that's what I'm going to be covering. I'm going to cover the difficult mode setup and talk a little bit about the gameplay and how it's different than easy mode. Now the third video, it's extreme mode. It's just pretty much you taking the whole deck and just mixing everything together, and the thing about that is you could literally turn over the first card and it could be the big boss. Now it's more of a variation than, you know, an actual gameplay, and it's not in the rules. The main ones are easy and difficult that are going to be in the rules, but I'll have the video for it, and if you want to play it, you know, it's still fun and very, very challenging. So without further ado, let's go ahead and we'll set up this video for the difficult mode for my game, Dungeon Flee. Now, as always, you need the 104 cards of the game, and what we'll do first is you take all the starter cards out, the 10 starter cards. Take those out, just set them aside. Then you have your character cards, and go ahead and pick a character. Today I'll be using the female cleric. Make sure you have it on the side with the yellow. That's the max health on there. Have that showing up. You can just set these off to the side. Then some characters have ability cards. So the cleric has her own ability card as well as the male side. So there's a male and female side. Same text. Just go ahead and match the picture and set that over here for the ability card. Then you want to take your yellow cube, go ahead and put it on the max, that yellow number, that's signifying your max health, and then your player token, just put it right in the middle for now. Then you can take the rest of these ability cards, set them aside. Now we want to take our exit cards. So you should have 4 stairs up cards and 2 dead end cards. What you want to do with those, just go ahead and shuffle those. Alright? And then instead of, as we do in the easy mode, these actually get put over here and they go off to the side, because there is a little bit of difference in the gameplay. So here, this is where your exit cards will be, and as you get to the bottom of a dungeon quarter, you'll pull from this deck instead of turning over the bottom one. Once you know what it is, then you can put it in this quarter space. So then we'll take our 7 treasure cards. Go ahead and just set those off to the side. We have our 15 empty quarter cards and our 3 door cards. Now you'll know these cards because they won't have any damage indicators, these green icons on the right. So go ahead and put that right on top of the quarter cards. Then we want to take our encounter cards. These are traps and doors and monsters. Everything that has a green icon, just go ahead and take all those. And what you need to do for this difficult mode is you want to have 2 piles. You want to have a pile that's 1 through 4, and then another pile that's the 5 plus encounters. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take everything that's 1 through 4, put it in a pile. And then everything that's 5 plus, put in the other pile. All right. Okay, so now we have our 1 through 4, and this corresponds to that green icon, 1 through 4 on those, and then this 5+. Okay, so now what we want to do is we're going to take our treasure cards. Now there's 7 treasure cards, right? But we have 2 piles. So what you want to do is, let's flip these over and just mix these up. And again, you can always scale even this mode, this difficult mode, by removing some of these treasure cards. Some of the treasure cards in here are pretty powerful. So if you want even a harder game, I recommend that you take out the Ring of Illusion, maybe the Amulet of Death. But for now, we'll just go ahead and leave those in here. And what you're going to do is you're going to put 4 of these on the 5+ pile and 3 in the 1 through 4. And what that's going to do, it's going to set the difficulty where you'll only have 3 treasure items you're going to hit in the first 4 levels of these monsters as you progress down. And then once you get to these harder ones, you're going to have more of these treasure cards come up. Now, again, you can scale it by putting more in the 1 through 4 if you want to make it easier, or less and put all of them in this 5+. It makes it even harder. So like I said, in your 5+, put 4 of them, and in the 1 through 4, put 3. Then we're going to take our door and empty cards, empty quarter cards, and let's just go ahead. We'll take these 3 door cards, and what I like to do is we just kind of filter them in here. Okay. Now you can shuffle this up if you want even more, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. Take 9 of these, right, and put them in the 5+. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, and put this in the 1 through 4. So just basically split it right in half and put each pile on top of each of these encounter piles. So we have our 1 through 4 and our 5+. Now, go ahead and shuffle these up. Shuffle them thoroughly. Because this is where you're going to start mixing all the quarter, the door, the treasure. You want to get those as dispersed as possible. All right, so we've got that one, and we'll shuffle this one up. Get one more. Okay. So now that we have our 2 piles, all right, since you want the tougher monsters on the bottom, near the bottom of the dungeon, you're going to take this 5+ and sit it on top of the 1 through 4. So now here is your final dungeon deck. Okay, this is what's going to make up your 6 main dungeon quarters. Do not shuffle this deck. Now you can go ahead and just distribute it around the character. 6 piles. Okay, so you can start anywhere. This will now distribute all the 5+ encounters, which are monsters, doors, and traps. Whoop. Down near the bottom of the dungeon when you're getting closer to those exits. And then as you start the dungeon, you're going to be dealing with those 1 through 4 level type encounters. And again, what makes it challenging is the first card you turn over could be a level 4 encounter, which right off the bat, since you only have a certain amount of starting type cards, you are not going to be able to deal with it. So you'll have to take the damage, and then it'll go to the bottom of that quarter deck, which is something that's different than the easy mode. You have to deal with the encounters when you're in the easy mode. So we have our 6 dungeon quarters. Okay? Once you have that done, go ahead and take your starter deck. Shuffle this up. Alright. And then you deal yourself 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright. Put this in your draw deck. and you're almost ready to go. The last thing you need to do is decide which corridor you're going to travel, which one you're going to start at and travel through. You can take your player token and put it on any one of these 6 spaces. So I'll start here. You have your 5 cards. Now you just turn over this top card. Like I said, see, first one we hit is like a level 3 trap. And there you go. Now this one, luckily, it has the possibility of defeating this trap because it's 3 shields and 2 swords. And you have that possibility. If you see something that's like 3 shields and 3 swords right off the bat, you're not going to be able to beat it. So what will happen is, if you can't beat it, you will take the damage, and then that card will go to the bottom of the deck. And then you have a choice whether you want to stay in this corridor or move to an adjacent corridor. As long as you keep beating this card, you have to keep going down this corridor. It's the thought is you are racing down, you're fleeing down this corridor, and you're just dealing with every encounter that you hit. And as you defeat it, you keep going. You're down, you're going farther down, or you're trying to travel out of this dungeon. And once you get an encounter like a monster or something that you can't defeat, right? That's such as a door or a monster. Because traps, if you don't defeat it, it's destroyed. You get one shot at it. But if it's a monster and you can't defeat it, it's going to go to the bottom of the deck, and then you have this process where you basically got past it and you just kept on running, and that thing didn't get killed. It's going to come at you later. So when it's at the bottom of this deck, this dungeon quarter deck, you will still eventually get to it and have to deal with it. But hopefully, as you're going along, you're building up your deck with stronger cards, which makes it a little bit easier for you to deal with it. You might find some treasures. You might find things that will help you deal with those stronger monsters at the bottom. So that's kind of the nice thing is, if you can't defeat it, you just shove it to the bottom of the deck and you just keep on running until you get to a point where you're through it, and then you see what type of exit card. The reason the exit cards are not on these decks is because if all the exit cards were underneath, you'd be shoving monsters or things underneath the exit card, and you would never get to them. So once you completely get through this dungeon quarter and get to the last one, you will flip this card over, see what it is, and then place it here. If it's a stairs up, great. If it's a dead end, you just move into another one. So that's different in the way the easy mode is. Easy mode is all the dungeon exits are underneath, and you have to literally go through the whole pile to get down to the end. Here, you keep feeding monsters that you're not defeating because you're just running past them. You might have gotten hit on it, but he did damage to you, and you just kept fleeing through the dungeon quarter, and then it's going to get to you later. Think of it as it's catching up to you later. So here we have our setup. This is the difficult mode setup. It's ready to play, and you got your game ready to go. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section. I will be doing another video that is the extreme setup, and that extreme mode setup is the one where it's pretty quick. It's just you're mixing up everything, and it's just an ad hoc where anything can happen. But again, the easy mode and the difficult mode are the ones that are in the manual, and those two are the ones you play. I recommend you play the easy mode first, get used to it, and then get down here and play this difficult mode. And as always, the great thing about Dungeon Flee, it's very scalable. There's so many things you can do to change things up. You can remove treasure cards if you want to make it harder. You can remove empty quarter cards to make it harder. You can remove the monster cards that have playable actions on them, and then you're just dealing with straight monsters. I mean, that's another way to scale it. You have all these different characters you can play to scale it. It's so versatile in how you can scale it to hard or easy. I just love that ability that you can use to just set this thing up however you want. But here you have it. This is my game, Dungeon Flee. My name is Joseph Propati, and this is the setup for the difficult mode. Thanks for watching, and see ya soon.